Imagine a world draped in darkness. Not just the darkness when the sun goes down, but a deeper, more profound shadow. A world where stone idols crowd the holiest of places, where infant girls are buried alive just for being born female, and where tribal loyalty means more than justice. Humanity had forgotten the face of God. This was the world of 570 CE, the superpowers of the age. The Persian and Roman empires ruled with iron fists, but their power meant nothing in the vast, empty expanse of the Arabian desert. Here, in a barren valley, lay a small city called Makkah, and in this city, a man named Abdul Muttalib was about to become a grandfather. To understand the scale of what was about to happen, you have to understand Abdul Muttalib. He was the chief of the Quraysh, the tribe that guarded the Kaaba, the ancient cube-shaped house built by the prophet Abraham thousands of years before. Abdul Muttalib was a man of immense dignity, so respected that his face was said to shine like the moon. But he also carried a secret burden. Years earlier, while digging the sacred Zamzam well, he faced opposition and made a desperate vow to God. If he were blessed with 10 sons to protect him, he would sacrifice one of them at the Kaaba. Now, with 10 grown sons, the terrifying moment had arrived. The arrows of fate were cast, and they fell upon his youngest, his most beloved son, Abdullah. Imagine the scene. The crowds gathered, the knives were drawn. But as Abdul Muttalib prepared to fulfill his vow, the Qurayshi leaders intervened, begging him to consult a soothsayer. The soothsayer gave a strange ruling: cast arrows between Abdullah and 10 camels. If the arrow falls on Abdullah, add 10 more camels, and keep going until your Lord is satisfied. So it began. 10 camels? The arrow fell on Abdullah. 20 camels? Still on Abdullah. The numbers climbed until, at 100 camels, the arrow finally landed on the animals. The ransom was paid. Abdullah was saved, and in that moment, the world almost lost the lineage of the final prophet. Not long after, Abdullah married a woman of exquisite character named Amina. Their union was brief but beautiful. Soon after the wedding, Abdullah left on a trading caravan to Syria. On his return journey, he fell ill and died in the city that would one day be known as Medina. He never saw his son. Amina was left alone, carrying a child whose father had been ransomed from death, only to be taken by fate just weeks before his birth. And so, in the spring of that year, while empires convulsed and armies retreated from Makkah, a single woman labored in solitude. The histories tell us that as the moment approached, Amina saw a light, a column of light, so bright it illuminated the castles of Syria, far to the north. What we know for certain is this: in the middle of the night, on the 12th day of Rabi al-Awwal, a boy was born. He was born an orphan, already marked by loss. His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, cradled the infant and, sensing something extraordinary, named him Muhammad, a rare name meaning the praised one. It was as if he knew this child was destined to be praised by billions across the centuries. But the world took no notice. Just another baby in a dusty town. But who would raise this child of destiny? Following the custom of Makkah's nobility, infants were sent to the Bedouin tribes, where the air was clean and the Arabic pure. Among the women who came seeking a child was Haleema. She was not fortunate. Her donkey was weak. Her own baby cried from hunger, and her camel had gone dry. The other nurses found infants from rich families, but Haleema was left with the only one remaining, Muhammad, the orphan. No one wanted an orphan. Who would pay for their service? Her husband said to her, "Take him. Perhaps Allah will bless us because of him." With hesitation, she agreed. As soon as she placed Muhammad to her breast, a miracle occurred. Her milk suddenly flowed. Her old donkey sprang forward with new energy, outpacing the entire caravan. The blessings only multiplied in the desert. The barren land around their tents turned green. Their sheep came back fat with milk. Haleema and her husband knew they had taken in an orphan, and in return, the very earth seemed to be smiling on them. 2 years passed. Muhammad grew strong and eloquent. When Haleema returned him to his mother, she begged to keep him longer. She had grown to love him as her own, and Amina agreed. Muhammad stayed in the desert until he was about 5. Then, something strange and terrifying happened. One day, while playing, 2 men dressed in white appeared. They laid him down and opened his chest. The other children ran screaming to Haleema, shouting that Muhammad had been killed. Haleema rushed to the field, her heart pounding, only to find Muhammad standing there, shaken but alive. He told them the men had come, opened his heart, removed a black clot, and then washed it with sacred water and returned it, purified. In Islamic tradition, this is known as the splitting of the chest, a spiritual purification for his future mission. But to Haleema, it was a frightening sign. Fearing for his safety, she brought him back to Makkah and returned him to his mother. Now, imagine this little boy's world. His father is a memory he never knew. His mother Amina is a gentle presence he adores. But when Muhammad is 6, Amina takes him to visit his father's grave. On the return journey, she falls gravely ill and dies. Muhammad, just 6 years old, is now an orphan twice over. He is brought back to Makkah to his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, who was incredibly tender with him. He would have a cushion placed for him in the shade of the Kaaba, where no one else was allowed to sit, stroking his hair and saying, "This boy will be very important one day." But when Muhammad was 8, his grandfather also passed away, entrusting him to his uncle, Abu Talib. Abu Talib had many children and little wealth, but he was noble and fiercely protective. He took Muhammad into his home and raised him as his own. Muhammad, in turn, loved him deeply. He became a shepherd, grazing sheep on the hills outside the city. It was humble work that taught him patience and reflection. Years later, he would say, Allah did not send any prophet, except that he was a shepherd. When he was about 12, Muhammad accompanied Abu Talib on a trading caravan to Syria. They traveled for weeks until they reached the town of Busra. There, a monk named Bahira had studied ancient scriptures, waiting for signs of a coming prophet. As the caravan approached, Bahira noticed something strange. A small cloud hovered over one figure, shading him from the sun. The monk insisted the travelers join him for a feast, and when he saw they had left a boy with the luggage, he demanded he be brought. When Muhammad arrived, Bahira studied him intently. He saw the seal of prophethood, a small mark between his shoulders, exactly where the scriptures described it. He questioned the boy, and his answers confirmed everything. Bahira pulled Abu Talib aside. "Take your nephew back to Makkah," he said urgently. "If others see what I have seen, they will try to harm him. He is destined for something great. Protect him." Abu Talib cut the journey short and returned home. Muhammad himself knew none of this. He only knew life was hard, but honesty was easy. He was quiet, thoughtful, and already earning a reputation. As he grew into a young man, he became known by a name that would echo through history: Al-Ameen, the Trustworthy. In a society riddled with corruption, he was a walking contradiction. He didn't drink, gamble, or worship idols. He kept to himself, thinking, reflecting, wondering about the Creator behind the stars. The world was about to change, and he would be the one to change it. For now, we leave Muhammad as a young man in Makkah, unknown to the world, but known to God, prepared by 40 years of life, of shepherding, trading, and meditating in caves, prepared to receive a message that would ignite the world, because the darkness was about to meet its match. Then, the light that had been lit in the desert so many years ago was finally ready to shine. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow the rest of this incredible story, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll see you in the next one.